Hey everyone, welcome to Mental Groove. Today we're taking a look at a Kevin Samuels clip that's been floating around, and I wanted to bring it here so we can watch it together. If you enjoy conversations that challenge how we think, you'll feel right at home here. Before we get started, go ahead and like the video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and let's check it out.
What we want, what they want. Hello,
Oh, hi.
how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am all right.
So your topic of
What your first name? Your first name is what?
Ashley,
Okay. How old are you?
27.
I said, are you as dope as you think you are?
Yeah, so my honest response to that would be I think I'm a little bit doper than I thought I was.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how dope are you?
I'm about 8.
Okay. So, what are you basing it on?
I'm basing it on companionship, communication, loyalty, femininity, and just like general skills as a woman, I suppose.
Okay. Are you married or are you single?
Single.
Uh, are you in a relationship?
Not currently.
Any children?
One, a daughter, 9.
Do you want to be married one day?
Yes.
If you watch my show, you know I always ask, how tall are you?
4'11",
Dress size?
6,
How much did you weigh last time you weighed yourself?
135.
So you said that you would rank yourself an 8 out of 10. That's high. You said on companionship,
Communication.
communication, femininity. When you say companionship, when was your last relationship?
Probably about 6 years ago,
How long did it last?
like 2 years.
So you've been single, so you're having that relationship for 4 years.
Right.
And you didn't marry your child's father.
No,
So how can you rank so high in companionship without a companion?
because of the opportunity, I suppose. Like
Mm.
you said, as
No,
far
no,
as
no, no,
turning them
no,
down.
no, 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 no. That's like me saying I have a 85% free throw percentage, and I haven't taken a free throw in the entire season. But why are you turning them down if you want to get married?
Because of just issues in terms of expectations.
How do you know?
Because of the communication.
How do you know if you turn them down?
It's after about, give or take, 2 weeks of communication, which is on their expectation level of every single day.
Everybody?
Just the last 4 guys that I've talked to within the
Hmm.
last three
It's
months.
been 4 years though.
Yeah, I just started recently intentionally dating
Why?
because I had to go through therapy and work on my own healing before I got to the point where I was ready to put myself out there for somebody else.
Hmm. You want any more kids?
I'm open to it. Yeah.
What did I ask? I hate that bullshit.
I mean, I do.
Do
It's
you
just
want them or do you don't? I mean, it's either you do or you don't.
I do, but only one more.
So you're looking for a stepfather, and he
No,
get
because
and
her
oh,
father,
hold
the doc.
on, hold on. The definition of a stepfather is a man who marries a woman with a child. I don't care what her related. That's a stepfather.
I would have the expectation that the
He
man
would
that
be a
I get with
stepfather.
adopts my daughter, though.
That's even worse. He becomes a legal stepfather and only gets one child out of it.
Depending on his age.
No, no. You said I want one. I asked you one either. I'd be open to it. How many do you want? Be one. Do you want to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant and married with the next child?
No.
Okay. I mean, it's fair. And when you got your two kids, what percentage of your overall family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for a lifetime?
Lifetime being,
Yeah. Meaning, what percentage of the family financial load do you want to have to be responsible for? Meaning, if you quit, you decide to start working or whatever, what percentage of the financial load do you want to have to deal with? Meaning, if it's not there, this is a percentage that's going to affect the family.
I'd say about 45%.
45%. So if you don't want to have to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant with the next child, 45% is almost 50%. That means if you stop working for any reason, the family is in serious financial jeopardy. That's what you want?
Yeah, I realize that. Yeah.
No, that's what is that what you want? So every time a bill is paid, if the mortgage is $2,000, you want 950 of those dollars to be yours.
Yes.
That means if a kid needs college, I mean, this is everything:
Right.
college fund, retirement, all that other kind of stuff, everything. So it's basically, it's 50-50 almost with you.
Right.
Well, if that's the case, you're going to be working during your pregnancy.
I expected as much.
Okay. Um,
It's not what I would want, but
well,
it's
that's what
what
I'm
I
asking.
expect.
Okay. Well, I'm asking you what you want. So you said you didn't want to have to work to pay significant bills, and then you say you want to have to pay 45%. So I'm just trying to get to the reality. And what I find is a lot of women are duplicitous. They'll say one thing, and what you want is something different. And human beings tend to act on what they want, not what they should. So I'm just trying to get what you want. I'm not making a judgment either way.
Hmm.
But did you go to college?
I'm currently in college right now.
So what kind of family income do you think you're going to need for a family of four to live a middle class, upper middle class life, to be able to afford cars for the kids, college fund, retirement? Would you like to travel?
Every 5 years.
Okay. Internationally, domestically, but every 5 years you want to travel to the Poconos or something, or you want to get out of the country?
No, I mean, I don't really have a preference. Just start somewhere, I suppose.
You said every
So in
5 years.
state,
Okay.
yeah,
Um, by what age would you like to retire?
45-ish, maybe 50.
So what kind of income do you think you're going to need for a family of four?
Combined or just
Mm-hmm.
independently?
Combined.
Combined, probably somewhere around 80, 80,000, maybe.
Four people?
Yeah.
What state do you live in?
I currently live in Minnesota, but I'm thinking more property in like Texas or something.
What, Dallas, Houston, Austin, what?
Dallas.
Dallas, $80,000. You're going to be living paycheck to paycheck for two people. That's both people making about $20 an hour, man.
Right.
Okay, people who make $20 an hour don't do what I just said. They don't buy kids cars. They don't travel. They live paycheck to paycheck forever. And you said retire at age 45? People who live paycheck to paycheck work till they die.
Hmm.
So in order to retire at age 45, that means you got to have a lot of money. Do you plan on making a lot of money?
Meaning
Meaning
in
you, meaning you. If you never get married, do you plan on making a lot of money?
no, just like about
Okay,
probably no.
so if you don't get married, how could you retire at age 45?
Yeah, that's what I've been kind of looking into.
Well, see, what I'm saying is ultimately, you're how old again?
27.
See, what I'm trying to show is you ladies don't think about this stuff. I asked you what percentage of the family do you want to work to pay significant bills after you're pregnant? You answered truthfully. I asked you what percentage of our family financial load? You said 45%. You answered untruthfully. But then when I get down to what kind of life you want to live, it's a middle class or above, truthfully. I asked you, do you want to travel every 5 years? Truthfully. You say it doesn't matter domestic or international, untruthfully. But then when I ask you about what age you want to retire, you answered truthfully at 45. Truthfully. Because at marriage, you ladies think that marriage should afford you things that being a single woman wouldn't. You wouldn't think to retire at 45 as a single woman with a kid. And then at $80,000, that's not possible. See, being a wife also means you have to be able to financially plan.
Right. That's okay. That's definitely important.
Right. So you say you want a man to adopt your child,
Right.
and he gets one kid. Would you be surprised if I told you it's going to be closer to around $270,000 a year for a family of
No,
four?
no, I wouldn't be surprised
Then
because
then why
I
would you say
was,
80?
well, because I was thinking, solo income,
Okay. What are you going to school for?
nutrition,
To do what?
become a registered dietitian.
To be broke.
I mean, 60,000 a year, on my own salary.
Working from who?
At a hospital in a clinical setting.
Dietitians?
Yeah,
What do you think you'll earn at the top of your earning?
60,000
And
annually.
that's at the top.
Right.
Okay, so at the top means around retirement age of 60 to 65. So, ma'am, that's
That's the
pretty.
new retirement age is 60 to 65.
What do you think the retirement age has been? What has it been?
I thought it was closer to the 50s, honestly.
Well, you're a woman, you can do that. I'm not trying to be insulting, but men know it's 65. We have
Okay.
to know these things because the world doesn't give us anything. And I'm saying these things because the numbers trip you ladies up. In order to live the kind of life you're talking about, you're limited. If you're making 60,000, there's no retirement at 45. Because that means your husband, if he's average guy, y'all are doing okay, but there's not enough to stock away. And my overall point, we talked about the whole dopeness thing. Not sounding too dope, man. It does sound like an 8 out of 10 from a man's standpoint. I'm basing that on what are you bringing to what useful knowledge are you going to bring to a relationship? You got expectations, which is fine.
So, to answer your question, it's just basically like my resources in terms of like I don't have all the answers to the, financial planning piece
Yeah,
of it.
that's fine. But what would you rank your looks? Fresh face out of the shower, 1 to 10, you can't use 7. Your natural
Mm,
hair, no
yeah,
makeup.
I would say probably 5.
Okay. I would say that one of the biggest issues today is people who are in the average to above average really want exorbitant or outside of their lifestyle, outside of their levels, and that's one of the biggest things. It's okay to think you're dope. We all think we're great. Um, but I would ask as a mother, you're gonna have to ask, what does the kind of man I want from a woman? And I'm gonna be honest. You're looking for a stepfather. A man, because you have a daughter, right?
Yes.
A man stepping into a stepfather role, is there any honor in a man being a stepfather these days? Not to you, but in this country and dynamic we have right now.
Hmm. I wouldn't know the statistics for that.
Well, what do you think?
I think that there's a lot to take into consideration,
Yeah, I think, but your hesitancy tells us everything we need to know. You didn't say a resounding yes.
Well, I can't say a yes or no.
Well, what do you think though? I mean, that's what you're asking somebody effectively to do.
Right.
So
But
don't you think you should know kind of what the baseline is?
for respect in terms of being a stepfather?
Yeah, is there any honor in it? Like when I was coming up, a man stepping into another man's shoes, take over family, was an honorable thing to do. He got mad respect from the community. Stepfathers got more respect than fathers. They were treated better. Women would often say, women would overcorrect their children. Hey, he's not your dad, but he stepped in here to do more than your dad, because a lot of these guys, maybe their father had been killed in Vietnam or something. That was on honor. Today, like how old is your daughter again?
9.
Um, would their stepfather be able to discipline her if
Yes.
needed? Okay. Um, but he'd have, but let's say you and your new husband, stepfather, 2 years from now had children. He'd have to provide for your daughter and his child with you equally. It couldn't make any difference in the house, right?
No.
Well, but see, his biological child would be, so let's say there are 5 Christmas gifts for your daughter, 5 for his son. Those, he should be buying 10 for his child, none for your daughter, and her dad should be buying. That's the way we think. Because if you got a kid, that means if he had a kid with you, he has to take resources out of his biology to give to another man's biology. That is against nature. So in order to get that to be done, males need to be compensated more, and we're compensating them less. This is why there's such a taboo. This is why so many men are like, I ain't marrying no baby mama. They can't say it as articulate as I did, but the bottom line is I've been there. When you got your biological child and your kid, and I gotta bring out 2 Happy Meals, that ain't your kid ain't mine. If we get divorced or whatever, you can take your child and leave. This is always gonna be mine. In nature, what would happen? If we were lions, in nature, what would happen? You got cubs. I come in and I take over you as a lioness. What happens to cubs?
I They would all be a part of the family.
The cubs are from another male lion. Okay?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, they would be treated differently.
How?
They would receive less from the new alpha male,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
So the female cubs will be allowed to stay because I can mate with them. The males would be killed.
Wow.
And actually, I take that back. The females, depending upon, scratch that. I'm not sure about that. But in general, offspring of another man are either shooed away or killed. Why? Because it throws the lionesses automatically into heat. Why would an alpha male lion come in and depose the other alpha male lion just to turn around and feed his kids and not get any in for himself? So so what I'm saying is, ladies, you got to remember we're animals. It's not our nature to want to come in and provide for another man's child. And all we get is 1 kid from out of the deal. And we got to work just as hard. And I got to work for 2 kids to pay for 2 kids. I only got 1 kid in the deal. This is why you ladies need to understand where we're coming from. Roll your eyes, not whatever. Y'all need to understand if you're unmarried with children out here and you want a man to come in and marry you, you need to understand where men are coming from. Stepping in to take care of another man's child is a bad deal. It's for all women. And y'all are going to have to learn either to speak to that and overcome it, or you just be out here with your kids by yourself. Because this is what men think. You see all them hearts? Those are the men. Is this new information to you?
No.
So let's switch gears. Is there any particular reason why you didn't marry your child's father?
Yes.
Well, in nature, that's kind of what's supposed to happen. So this whole conversation came down around the level of dopeness and this and that. To me, it seemed like you may be a nice person, average, cool. But if you're looking to really be with somebody, all women, especially women with children, are going to have to answer, what does the kind of man that I want from a woman? And most, huh? Go ahead.
Please.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that depends on the man himself.
See, what you ladies do when you do this is you deflect and you don't do the work. It doesn't depend specifically. You can answer the question, the big picture. There's always the answer. See, that answer is a non-answer. See, why they do that is because it depends on the man himself, so I don't have to think about it right now. Bullshit. You need to think about it right now so the man that you would want in the future would know that you've done the thought process, and you could be able to articulate, this is what I know I bring to the table for a man like you. You don't start working when that man is there. Because what do you want for a man? He has to already possess those things, right?
No.
Okay. So you'd marry a project?
Yes.
Hope so. Well, if that's the case, then why weren't the other guys that you had these communication issues with not good enough if you'd be willing to deal with a project?
Because over the course of our communication, it became clear to me that we weren't on trajectory to reach the same goals.
But that's a project.
It is a project,
Mm-hmm.
but the goals were different. Like the target that we were trying to hit was different.
What target were they trying to hit?
Just having me?
Just having you?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Meaning not really including my daughter in the picture with our goals.
I don't understand what you mean. Talk to me like I'm four or a cocker spaniel.
Okay,
That doesn't make
so
sense.
so in terms of dating right now, my financial goals are set towards having a family and being married and being in a stable environment.
Mm-hmm.
And with dating in the process, it can sometimes derail from that overarching goal
Mm-hmm.
of us being together because of the financial piece. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we have to squirrel away money so that we can meet our ultimate goals. But then the traveling, since it's a
All that
long
in the
distance relationship,
first 2 weeks?
well, this is what we talk about within the first 2 weeks is actually meeting in person.
Everybody you talk to has been long distance?
Yes.
Okay. There are no guys in your area?
None that I've talked to so far.
So the other guys you met, they've all been long distance, and in the first couple of weeks, you guys were on the same page. And because what I'm hearing, ma'am, is you don't even got on a date with anybody. Is
No.
that
Yes,
So,
that's correct.
so I don't believe what you're saying, man. I think you're just talking. You're saying, well, you've gone through, so you've gone from talking to somebody on the phone to get all the way to financial planning. You ain't been on a date, number one. That makes sense to you? That don't make any kind of sense to me. Four men. So I meet you on Tinder, Bumble, Match, someplace, and we go from text message, phone call. How you doing? Yeah, I like tacos. I like pizza. Well, let's go ahead and talk about overall family goals. Yeah, I want to be married. I want to be married too. Okay. Well, I want to do. Okay. Well, let's talk about financial. In 2 weeks, you ain't even on a dinner yet.
I just like to introduce, what my overall goals are
Your
in
overall
talking
goal
to.
is to what? To get married, right?
Right.
And
Yes.
then to do what?
Settle down
What does that mean?
means have a place to live, have healthcare, job, all that
Place
squared
to
away.
live is buying a home.
Yes. Like a townhouse or a condo or something. First
And these
home.
guys didn't. And these guys didn't want to get married.
No, they're open to it.
Did they want to? Did they want to own a home?
That part wasn't so clear to me.
Man, I'm trying to be. If you're on online dating sites as a single woman, you kind of wasting your time. Because honestly, I'm just being honest. Most guys are looking at a woman in your position as just somebody to kick it with. It's a nice way to say just have sex, but to keep it moving. If you want to find a husband, you're gonna have to do what's hard. Find a man in your local area, and you're gonna have to figure out what value you bring to a man. Do you not realize that a man marrying you takes on a substantial, significant risk? Marrying a woman with a daughter is crazy today in this Me Too environment, where all it takes is that girl coming up and say he touched me or he looked at me a certain way. He opens us up to legal stuff, issues with you, and then you got to ask, what is the man getting for all of that initial risk? A 60+% divorce rate, and 80% of divorces being filed from women. The way you say it, man, your relationship history has been spotty at best. So you don't sound like you do relationships too well. So it's not hard to understand that you may likely leave when it gets hard. And God forbid he has a child in this situation. This is how men think. Y'all have to understand what you're asking a man to risk. Come in here and raise another man's daughter. You get one kid from me, and that's not enough. It's just not enough. And I'm not supposed to say it. I'm supposed to say something that's nice and hopeful, but it's not. Men are like, fuck that. Men honestly would say, I would rather go out and go to Brazil or Dominican Republic, get my rocks off, or find somebody. But marriage, that's a big deal. And I'm gonna move you to the side because it's too personal. And this is the risk you ladies run by having kids outside of wedlock. You substantially drop your value so much to where modern men, marriage is already on the decline for young men. And if you got kids, you got to be a hell of a bona fide bad bitch, no pun intended, to make a man seriously consider marriage. That's really where it has to be. And I don't think a lot of women get that. I think a lot of women still are thinking that, uh, that we can work together and build a family and this and that. And that's just not what it is. So, but I hope that you can take away something from this conversation, man. I would hope you could really start thinking if you really want to get married, um, and what kind of time frame and all that other kind of stuff. My point is ultimately this: women who want to get married need to know date with intention, know what kind of time frame they're looking at, especially if you have kids. You got to be serious. You got to be, all the questions I asked about financial planning and everything else, men want to know that you've thought about this stuff because far too many women move as if they're supposed to just get married and then that's it. I'm just supposed to be a wife. And then the man is supposed to figure all this other stuff out.
Yes, no, that's not how it's supposed to go.
Right. But when we start talking about retirement and this and that, if you don't get married, who gonna have to figure out all that for you? Well, and if you don't figure out marriage, that's gonna be the end result. That's fair to say.
Yeah, it is.
Young people's attitude is changing. Young people's attitude towards marriage is changing. That's true. But I appreciate it, man.
This one right here is wild. She's 27, single with a daughter, hasn't been in a relationship for 4 years, but rates herself an 11. Like, seriously? See, this is the kind of delusion we're seeing a lot these days. It's one thing to have confidence, but when your confidence is disconnected from reality, it becomes a liability. You can't say you want to be married one day, but at the same time, you've been out of the game for 4 years doing nothing to position yourself for the type of man you say you want. And rating yourself an 11? Come on now. Nobody is an 11. That tells me she's not even open to self-awareness or improvement, because in her mind, she's already perfect, even though she's single and not getting the outcome she wants. I don't say this to tear her down, but this is exactly why so many women stay stuck. They want marriage, they want a family, but they're unwilling to look in the mirror and assess what they need to adjust to attract and keep the kind of man they claim they want. Confidence is great, but humility and reality checks are necessary if you actually want results.